Okay, it is Tuesday, February 3rd, 6:39 p.m. We're going to call the meeting to order. Teresa?
Mayor Tiffany Hollis.
Here.
Ryan Green.
Here.
Donnie Barnard.
Here.
Matthew Huggins.
Here.
Kyle Cook.
Here.
Jeff Barr.
Present.
Nicole Shook.
Here. And tonight's invocation will be given by Councilman Barr. If everyone would stand.
Let's bow our heads. Gracious God, we thank you for the community of Johnstown, its people, its history, and the shared responsibility we carry for one another. We are grateful for this town we call home and for the opportunity to serve it with care and integrity. As we begin tonight's meeting, we ask for wisdom, patience, humility for our council members, staff, and all who participate in these decisions. Help us to listen well, speak honestly, and seek the good of the whole community, especially those whose voices are hardest to hear. We thank you in our own personal way for your strength and comfort as our own family walks through difficult matters. Like many families in this room and throughout our town, we carry private burdens alongside our public duties. Please grant healing, clarity, and peace where it is needed. Remind us to extend grace to one another. Let me repeat that we extend grace to one another. May our work this evening be guided in fairness, compassion, and in genuine love for Johnstown and its future. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll move to approval of agenda. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Changes.
And action on minutes. Can we do this in a block, or do we need to, everyone was here for both?
Yes, if you want to make that motion, that would be fine.
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor of?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great.
Next, we have correspondence from the Department of Commerce. A notice for a liquor license. I believe this is just changing the provider or holder from the Horseshoe to El Rey. Is that right?
Yes.
And we don't have to take any action on this unless we want to oppose it. We could go to a hearing or something. So as long as everyone is okay with the transfer, we don't have to take any action.
I'm good.
Good.
Okay. I'll let them know no hearing requested.
Next is citizen comments, matters not on the agenda. Did we have any speaker slips?
I did get one speaker slip of Connie Ryan and Terry Fetter.
The dynamic duo.
What's your timer?
We'll start
Got-
that 3 minutes clock.
Yeah, you got 3 minutes, you're on a buzzer.
Oh, no. Trust me, it's not going to take that long. We have not given up on the Brigadier General Perry Miles Trust in the land, 176 acres, 2 miles out of town. About 2 months ago, we got stirred up again about it. So I contacted Licking County Parks, who was supposed to have gotten the property. They still have not gotten the property. So I contacted the Attorney General's office again, and they are understanding that it was given to Licking County Parks. I waited another month, contacted Licking County Parks again. They still have not received the property. So, since there's new board members, we thought, and Perry Miles died in 1961 for the new members, and it was given to the village of Johnstown, the 177 acres. It has been then transferred into a trust in 2007, which that's a whole different ballgame. We thought was illegal, but it happened. So there's a management group now. As it turns out, on the management group is the mayor of Johnstown. So we're requesting that we have representation at the next meeting. No offense, Tip, but or don't
It's okay.
you there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
So
They've not had a meeting in a year and a half to 2 years?
No, not as
Exactly.
far as we
Yes.
know.
And we went to a meeting, we were asked to leave.
Yes.
Yes.
Because we get very emotional because it's been in our family for years. My mom was a Longwell. We went out there as kids, you know, so it's still there. It's still sitting there.
Very bad disrepair.
Yeah, the house needs to be torn down and all that. So anyway, we've made, Terry has made a packet. So if you want to read over the information.
New ones. I still have my old one.
You should.
I still have it.
You can
I
hand
still
it
found a way to
You
box.
can those to Teresa and she'll,
I do. I have mine.
Sure.
You,
Tony probably has it.
oh yeah.
Just following rules.
Yeah. So that's all we have on that. On another item, we requested last year, when you have at 62 and 37, you have the Congressman Ashbrook's Way and then Donnie Jakeway's, whatever. So we were wondering, since we have a Brigadier General, we requested possibly that at 62 in Oregon, we could put up Brigadier General home or whatever way or whatever.
I do remember that conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah, I do.
I don't know if we dropped the ball or if we're supposed to do something.
So we did the legislation.
Yeah.
And you guys need to apply for it.
Okay.
All you gotta do is,
To change the name, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Okay, we can do that then. We didn't know what we were supposed to do, so we gotta,
Do we have a form that we need to?
Teresa will have it.
Teresa will get the
Teresa will
form.
handle it for you.
Okay.
Okay, next on our agenda is,
They were here on time.
I walked the bike path.
That's okay, one more thing and then we'll.
Okay,
wrap it
the
up.
Mastodon, little QR codes, there's 9 of them, only 3 of them work. And since you all know, this year is our big Mastodon birthday party, it'd be nice if we could have those working and everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if that's yours or Monroe
that us or
Township
Township?
does that.
You know?
It's probably a joint project with TJ Evans. No?
That's a good question.
Just to clarify, so you're talking about the interpretive trail that's down by the bike trail.
Yeah.
So that is on city property, if it's the path. I believe the QR codes were installed by the city, so it would be the city's obligation to.
We talked about this.
I don't know if the city did it or if,
I think it's the historical.
I think it was the Historical Society.
Is that you?
I can look further into that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, it's just that they're faded.
Yeah.
They might, 3 of them that have been in the shade are perfect. The others that have been in the sun have faded and nothing comes up.
Okay.
So,
Now, last fall, the street department, we cut everything way back, we
Yeah.
cleaned it up, we put more stone down in there, because the swamp had got out to us out
Yeah.
there, because we had had that lot of rain, but, yes, I'm relatively sure, and I think we just confirmed it, the Historical Society had charge of the QR codes.
That'd be great.
because our president, he's right.
Well, don't call me out. You're on there too.
Yeah,
We'll bring that up in safety and service next meeting, if not,
Wasn't
not
it
a
Mr.
resolution.
Reese
I think it was Terry, yeah.
Really
I'll-
headed
Yeah.
that
Yeah, he did.
project up.
Yeah.
I think it was actually Cindy Reeves that did it.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Well, it sounds like a Historical Society.
Well, I thought she was on the Cornell thing.
she is, she's not
She's-
in our group.
No, she's not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just so you're aware, going back to Miles Estate, as mayor, when I represented the thing, I did ask for a full accounting of all the finances
Yes.
for the Miles Estate. The other 4 more board members were not interested in doing that. So just so you're aware,
Yeah.
they feel they're doing the money fine. So we did ask about the money, what was
And
left
you
in
did,
there.
and I
I
appreciate
remember.
you saying that.
And you were the one that let us know about the meeting that we got
Yes.
kicked out of too,
Yes.
so thank you.
Yeah,
That might be why I haven't been at another meeting.
He won't answer my phone calls.
yeah,
All right, thanks,
it's a
guys.
thorn in our side and we would appreciate any help.
Thank you.
Okay.
It was-
Thanks, guys.
Because it belongs to the city.
Supposedly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a presentation by MKSK for our Johnstown Design Guidelines. Take-
Can I tee this up a little bit? Great. And I think he's getting some things ready, so that'll give me a quick moment to buy some time. So what we have tonight is an MKSK presentation on the design guidelines. As you recall, we had a joint meeting a month back with the ad hoc committee that was formed by the previous council, and we have come to kind of the end of that process. And so walking through this tonight, how this will unwind, and you'll have some legislation, it's on item number 13. In order to do a text amendment, it can be done one of three ways. The quickest is for council to initiate the text amendment. So that's going to be with item 13. So I'm kind of cheating and skipping ahead a little bit, but this will save the explanation down here. So item 13, there'll need to be an initiation by council to move forward with a text amendment. Once we have that resolution from you all, it will then have a 30-day notice before the first actual hearing, which will be in front of council. And then after you have that hearing, like with any ordinance, you'll have a second reading, and then you'll vote on it at that particular meeting. So before we had you vote on initiating it, we thought it would be wise to have MKSK come in and give us a nice recap. If you would like to have them at the first public hearing, we can certainly request that from MKSK, but in order to give you feedback and all of the nuances that have happened over the last 6, 7, 8 months during this process, that is the purpose of tonight's. And then if you want to move forward, we can then act on the resolution before you. So I think
Just to clarify?
Yes.
For all of council, what we're voting on tonight doesn't actually initiate any, it's just to initiate, doesn't actually enact it.
That's correct. You'll have a formal hearing on the ordinance 1187 in, I would say, 45 days. There'll be a 30-day public notice period, depending on when your next meeting falls. Could be 7 days outside of that, and then you'll have that hearing, and then 2 weeks after that, you'll then have the actual vote on it. And then there's actually two parts to this. There's 1187, which is a text amendment, but then there's also the design review guidelines that are an accompaniment to it, but they're not going to be locked in as a codified ordinance. There are guidelines.
Okay.
And so what we have done is we would like to pass these in tandem. One can be done by a resolution, the other needs to be done by ordinance. We could do the resolution tonight, but without having the ordinance to support that other piece, we have elected to hold off. You'll pass them both in the same night if you so choose, and then they'll be locked together. And without further ado, we have Trevor from MKSK and Chris, whom you don't get to see quite as often from MKSK, here to support. And Trevor's been with the entire process on this. So.
Thanks for the tee up, Sean. Yeah, so as Sean said, I'm Trevor. I'm with MKSK. We initially kicked this, before I jump into it, we initially kicked this project off in late in the year in 2024. We began the process by holding a series of public meetings to gather things like what people prefer for colors, materials, building design in general, things like that. And so we took a lot of that information over the beginning of 2025, assembled a report or this set of design guidelines, and have worked kind of since about August with the design review board. We probably met with them 6 or 8 times to discuss various pieces and parts that culminated in the design workshop at the end of last year. And this is, as Sean pointed out, kind of the culmination of all of that in one package. So I'm going to walk through the design guidelines document, and then Chris and I are happy to try and answer any questions that you'll have. So the purpose and goals behind these, the city's current design guidelines don't do a great job of giving the design review board enough kind of teeth to accurately review things. There's a lot of subjective calls that have to be made because the current design guidelines just have things like general materials, and they have no color guidelines, things like that. So the design review board really is put in a position oftentimes to make a reaction based on their subjective opinion when items come before them. So in order to rectify a lot of that, the goal of this project was to provide clear guidance, set a clear expectation, which in this case is consistent in a quality aesthetic throughout the city. And these guidelines will also allow the design review board to give consistent and clear feedback to applicants when they come in. The goal with that is to reduce the number of times applicants have to come in, and hopefully to make it clear to anyone that's proposing improvements to their structure exactly what they need to do in order to get that accomplished. The diagram on the right there illustrates kind of the various scales of development standards that jurisdictions can adopt. Zoning standards are very basic level. Almost every city has that. So those are things like your building has to be set back 25 feet from the street, basic things like that. design guidelines are a step above that. It starts talking about things like what colors can building be, what materials can you use, what should roofs look like. But it doesn't get into specific architectural styles like you would see in New Albany or potentially Dublin and places like that. So this definitely elevates you from kind of where you're at today, which is just above having your basic zoning standards, to having a good set of design guidelines that you can build on in the future and amend those as needed as you use this tool and the design review board gets more familiar with it. I'm going to breeze through this because Sean did a great job. There's multiple parts to this. The design guidelines document, that's what we're primarily going to talk about this evening. There are also some amendments to Chapter 1159, which are the LM zoning standards, and then Chapter 1187, the design review board roles and responsibilities, things like that. So we're going to focus on the design review guidelines this evening. The document itself is broken into 3 sections. The first introduction is fairly self-explanatory. It establishes why the document exists, and also references back to the codified ordinances just to create a good link between your regulatory, like your legal documentation, your zoning code, and these design guidelines and how they work together. The second piece is really just the Johnstown perspective. This is a short summary of what we heard during the public input process. So what people want to see in the city and also what people would prefer not to see more of in the city. It's very succinct and short, but it just is a perspective statement. We like this, we don't really like this sort of thing. And I'll go through that in a little more detail. And then the third piece is the design review district. So there's maps, the guidelines themselves, photos, other things like that to help the design review board make decisions as they are asked to review documents or proposals. So to start, the Johnstown perspective, the document is the organizing principles that you see up there in the upper left. These are repeated throughout the document in every design district. That's basically how the document itself is organized. The design review board helped us come up with those 5 topics, and they felt that was a good way to organize the overall document. It made sense to them and how they would apply it. So this is the perspective piece. So highlighting pieces and parts of downtown that you like. So things like good sidewalks, having street lights, having some open space like the park there at the corner of 3762. And then also a street view of what makes good urban buildings. So having big windows, having some awnings, making things look lively and welcoming for anyone visiting or living here. We can follow back up on this and I'll go through an individualized map with each district review. But this is overall how the districts are laid out. There's 4 total. Historic downtown, the bright blue that you see right there in the middle, follows Main Street and Coshocton. The red, which has been dubbed the Commerce Corridor, it basically kind of starts at the post office building and heads south on 62 until you get kind of to the Kroger complex and out towards, is that Ace Hardware out there? Then the yellow is neighborhoods. That's fairly self-explanatory, primarily residential development areas. And then the 4th is industrial, which is all of the lands out there on and around Commerce Boulevard. So getting into the historic downtown, this is the first district, and this covers, like I said, primarily the originally established parts of the city. The 2 different blue colors, the darker blue is commercial and mixed use properties. The lighter blue are residential properties, and there are separate standards for each to reflect kind of how those properties are currently utilized. Those 2 categories, the commercial and mixed use subdistrict and the residential subdistrict. Here again, organizing principles, all the same there. All of these districts have, sorry, I talked with my hands. All the districts have a 3-dimensional model that points out what we're talking to of the different organizing principles. It includes these topics. These are carried throughout all of the design review districts. And then photography to help, again, just provide character and context to what the expectations are. Most of these photos were voted on through the public engagement process, so we picked the ones that were most well-liked generally. Throughout these, again, the organizing principles on the left, more illustrations that get into specific building design and what we'd like to see. So for example, in the commercial mixed-use subdesignation, large windows, making sure that people walking by on the sidewalk can see into the building and vice versa. Including details on buildings like cornices, awnings, simple things like that, and then recommending some basic colors. There are far more in the color palette. This is just a small sample that we use for just kind of a high-level overview. Same goes for residential sites. You're starting to see the pattern here of how this repeats over and over, and the reason for that repetition is This is a technical document. It's meant to be applied evenly across all of these districts, so keeping the structure generally the same helps in that, helps everyone be able to understand a little better, and including the design review board and the public who will have to review this. Again, 3D model illustrating those various components of the organizing principles. The guideline topics: scale, building orientation, transparency in windows, building details, building materials, and color palette. Some photography again, providing context, and just overall guidance for when new residential properties are either renovated or developed within that downtown residential district. Same here again, trying to really reflect in the residential site in downtown, trying to really reflect the traditional character, including sidewalks where you can, front porches, trying to set garages further back from the street, really trying to relate to the existing building stock that's there. Again, color palette down there. In both the mixed use and the residential areas of downtown, the color palette's fairly muted. The design review board recommended using like Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams, like their historic architectural palette. So most of the colors, there's certainly color in there, but most of it's fairly subdued. And the design review board will have input on what those colors are when a building color is either changed or a new building is proposed. So moving from downtown onto the Commerce Corridor, again, the post office site down kind of the city limits south on 62. These are primarily looking for ways to better utilize commercial sites, and also if you get a proposal to include some residential, that's becoming more and more common with these types of sites. Some guidance as to what would be appropriate there. Generally, everything in this district is 3 stories or less. That was the height that most of the public and the design review board felt comfortable with here. That's a little bit higher than downtown. In downtown, we kept everything at 2 stories or below just to reflect and respect the current built environment down there. The model on the lower left is kind of visionary in terms of how some of these sites could happen. The goal is to get more of like an actual street along these commercial buildings so that the storefronts actually are appealing to walk adjacent to. Parking is generally tucked back behind the commercial buildings, and then there's opportunities for residential and how that should be integrated in that 3D model in the lower left. The guideline topics are the same in this category as they were in the downtown district. They're again, consistency, making this easier to understand and implement. And again, more character photography. They're again, just trying to make this as easy to implement and understand as possible and give the design review board as much guidance as we can. Similar here again, individual building 3D models that talk about things like detailing, how corners of buildings should be activated, potentially even having 2 doors, things like that, building details. The color palette on this is a little more vibrant, but there again, the design review board recommended going with I forget the specific color palette that was referenced in the design review guidelines document, but there is a color palette that's established by a major paint manufacturer. There again, gives the design review board something to base decisions off of, or at least provide guidance to applicants if things are going a little awry. The neighborhood district is more focused on new development than it is on existing development, and what I mean by that is if a new development came in, like similar to the one that Pulte built behind Tractor Supply and that, before anything starts being developed there, the design review board would have to review and approve the layout of the subdivision, so how the streets are arranged, how the lots are arranged, and also an architectural package for the homes. You know, generally there's 6 or 8 different floor plans and facades you can choose from. Those would be agreed to with the design review board up front, and then from that point forward, it would be a staff level review. Trying to make sure that everyone understands the expectations right up front rather than on a case-by-case basis, and then kind of letting staff just review the individual homes as they're built rather than having the applicant come back to the design review board every time just to build basically the same thing. There are a few guidelines in there about things like re-roofs on existing structures, so trying to get away from, or trying to push people toward, color appropriate roofing materials, things like standing seam roofs, other things like that, just trying to create some consistency throughout the city. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. That's most of what's on this slide. But there again, 3D model on the lower left hand, trying to again promote the front door being forward to the street, setting garages back slightly, just trying to make things feel more like a traditional neighborhood. One of the things that we heard loud and clear through this is that people really like the aspect and character of the more historic homes near downtown, and would like to see that replicated elsewhere where possible. So that's what we're trying to do here, is trying to make the homes speak for themselves and minimize the appearance of automobiles and driveways and things like that, so that it's more comfortable to walk and just more aesthetically pleasing. Here again, similar setup. Talks about, facade treatments, windows, having where buildings should be located. The recommended colors in this are much more kind of an open book. There are more vibrant colors, but there again, the design review board will have input on that before anything starts being painted or built, in that matter. So that colors will be determined beforehand and not just willy-nilly be able to place on a building. Lastly, the industrial district. So again, the gray area on the map there, most of what's on Commerce Boulevard out to the city limits to the east. So these are basic guidelines that are intended to be adopted into the zoning code. And these are simple things like making sure that screening is opaque and you can't see a bunch of storage being had on site, trying to locate offices near the front of the buildings that are closer to the street so that you don't just have like blank walls and things like that adjacent to your streets, and just trying to make them look more like a commercial development and more aesthetically pleasing, while understanding that people need outdoor storage and just big sites to do storage or manufacturing and things like that. And so those are a little more straightforward, but the design review board felt it was necessary to include something along those lines just so that no part of the city is being left out. I'm not going to go through this line by line. We did that at the December 15th meeting last year. So these are the review roles. So anything that's considered a major or let's see if this works. So anything in the major category would be reviewed by the design review board. So that any major in any of these districts will be reviewed by the design review board. Anything in the minor category will start at the staff level, and if staff is able to make an approval, meaning it's very clear what the design guidelines say, yes or no, they can do that. If staff is unsure, what this allows for staff to do is to elevate that to the design review board. So there's always an option if staff's unable to make a determination, or if an applicant is unhappy with staff's decision, they can then basically appeal or go to the design review board and have the board make that decision as needed. Kind of at a high level, most of what's in downtown is going to be a major modification and will be reviewed by the design review board. Things like changing a sign or repainting a building the exact same color that it already is, that can be approved by staff, but those are very minor changes. As you move across in the commerce corridor and neighborhood, any more of those items are able to be approved by staff. The thought process there was the design review board were trying to minimize, for example, like individual property owners, like a single home owner. Do they really need to come in to the design review board for every single thing that they're trying to do their home, or can we try to let staff review some of that? So moving from left to right, you'll see that a lot more things are in major in downtown than they are in the neighborhood district, for example. And this reflects the discussion that we had last year. And so I'm going to end on this map. I'm happy. I know I just gave a lot to you at once. I'm happy to try and answer any questions, go back over anything that you like. But again, as Sean said, this is kind of just a first opening discussion, and I understand that you all need time to digest this.
Questions? Thanks, Trevor.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks,
it.
Trevor.
Thank you.
Happy to do it.
Hopefully there's been an absorption tonight, and we'll get back with you whether we need to have you do another presentation at the first council reading of this, should they choose to move forward with it.
Sure.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
A lot of time and hours, but good times.
Do these same design guidelines apply to the PD district or the NCA, or does that have its own set?
So I'm going to let Trevor unpack that. I can answer it, but it won't be as eloquent as what Trevor will probably capture. He can compartmentalize it a lot quicker. So did you hear the question?
Yes. In short, no, they do not apply to the PD district. The reason for that is that district, when it was adopted, has its own architectural standards, and we felt that trying to mix those two would probably just cause more problems. And it was because those they're not design guidelines in the PD district, they're actual architectural standards. So it's in the zoning code itself, meaning there's not much room for subjective review on that. It's kind of yes, it looks like that, or no, it doesn't,
Yeah.
and that's why. Thanks, Trevor.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on, we have council committee reports. Planning and zoning did not meet.
Did not meet. You were canceled.
Did not meet. They were canceled on January 27th. Next meeting is February 10th at 6:30. Design Review Board did meet on January 27th. Do you have an update?
They finished review of that design guidelines draft and recommended it to council.
Okay. And Safety and Service met earlier tonight. Ryan, do you have an update?
Yes, we had a great presentation on the flock security cameras there that our police force will be using. So take a look at that if you have any spare time. Those will be going into action soon. So also we had our street updates and discussion. That'll be an ongoing discussion as we go forward here this spring on how best to update our roads, do the most we can with the budget we have. We had a brief water and sewer update. We had an update on our no-through trucks, new legislation that went in and is now being enforced. We'll be getting some more signs and trying to do more to make sure that the large trucks are not making their way through the downtown and the neighborhoods, since that's been an issue. Caswell Road, Chambers Way, there will be a new stop sign going in to protect the safety there, and that was it.
Anybody else? Safety and Service.
That was it?
No, never mind.
Anything for
Nope,
Joe?
nothing from that committee.
Okay. Finance Committee did not meet tonight. They will meet next February 17th at 5:30 in council chambers. Our School District Liaison Committee has our first meeting Thursday at 5 p.m. in council chambers. Facilities Committee met on January 23rd, and that is an as-needed committee, but does anyone have an update from that last meeting?
During that meeting, City Manager Sean Stannard kind of gave us an inventory of what the city owns as just brainstorming, not that it's definitive, of properties that are potentially owned by the city that could be a PD or City Hall location. We got a little bit of an update from about the American Legion lease as it relates to the city. And I think that's all I want to share from that, because the others, I don't think we want to share at this point, right?
Right.
Not that it's any information, but just.
A lot of
don't-
brainstorming.
Yeah, a lot of brainstorming. Thank you, Mayor, for that summary.
Next, we have the Parks and Rec Liaison Committee met earlier this month, or are you done?
I'm sorry.
No,
Just one thing did come to mind, that we did review the lease that we have with the school board, and its timeline, because, just to kind of refresh everyone's memory of where we're at. But part of that discussion was that, we have an initial 5-year and then a 3-year period extension to that. But what we wanted to see was, in that initial 5-year, that we have a location determined. We had talked about some benchmarks that were important to have, so that 3-year second leaseback period was really to start design, engineering, construction, plenty of time to move in, and give ample opportunity for us to get out of existing building and into new facility, whatever that may look like and wherever it may look like.
Parks and Rec Liaison Committee met in January. Forgive me, Nicole, I don't remember the date that you said. Do you want to?
No, it's the last Thursday. So the Greater Johnstown Parks and Rec District meets every Thursday, the last Thursday of the month. They meet here in Chambers around 6:30. Usually lasts for about an hour, an hour and a half. This was the first meeting they had of the year, and this was a full board for the first time in a couple years. For those of you not familiar with how this is set up, there is a board appointed from the school district, a board appointed from the city, a board appointed from Monroe Township, And, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, so there's 2 from the city, 2 from the school, and 1 from Monroe Township. Bylaws were changed, and they had a great meeting. It was a great discussion. They went over some just rules of order, and they're currently working with some fireworks collaboration and looking to reapply for their 501c3 to become a actual nonprofit. So their next meeting is the last Thursday in February, 6:30 here in Chambers.
Did you say that they were looking to renew their 501c?
Well, yes, because they reapplied for it, or they applied for it, and in order for them, they would have to, they were given a letter from the auditor, I believe. Sean, is that where it came from?
Oh, I'm not certain.
There's mixed discussion on that, Jeff. There's some members that want it, some members that don't. So.
Yes, but it's,
They're already a nonprofit organization.
They're-
I'll follow up with the group.
they're not an essential 501c, they don't have their own 501c3. So,
I understood.
Do you have anything else for Parks
No.
and Rec? Okay.
Ms. Halls, or Mayor Halls, can we go ahead and schedule a rules committee also?
Yeah, actually, I was gonna ask that also. I believe it's you, Matt, and is it Jeff?
I'm on
Are you
it.
Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay, the 3 of you on Rules Committee.
When you guys have some time available?
After 5, any day.
What do you think, Matt?
I can pretty much do after 5.
Okay.
I would ask, the sooner the better, preferably.
I can meet on Monday.
Monday at 5?
I can do it.
Oh, do we have something?
Yeah, the Board of Education has their meeting in here on.
Oh, alrighty.
It's not a huge committee.
What about Thursday next week?
Use admin.
Use the conference room?
Yeah, either one.
Yeah.
And then attendees, committees, typically Teresa needs to be there for minutes. Do you need myself there? Rules has sometimes operated without me in the committee meeting, and sometimes they haven't, and you don't have to answer tonight, just let Teresa know.
So you want Thursday at 5?
Thursday or Monday, whatever.
If you do it Monday, you can do it in the conference room.
Thursday won't work for me, so.
Monday.
Okay, Monday it is.
Monday in the conference room.
Yeah, I was gonna say school district liaison is Thursday, so. So Monday, the 9th,
5.
5 o'clock, and we're gonna meet in admin council, or admin conference
Conference
room. Okay.
And one of you will let Sean know if you want him to be there.
Yeah, they're council rules, so
Yeah.
they're really your rules. I'm not gonna tell you what to do, so whatever you come up with is gonna be what you come up with, so.
Okay. Was that all you had, Donnie?
Thank you.
Director reports, Service Department, Water Sewer Street, Jack?
Basically, Hannah, is there any questions on any of the reports that you received?
I do not have any questions. Does anyone else have anything?
Do you guys mind if I get with Jack on the layout of some of the reports afterwards? So we don't have to do it here.
Oh, yeah.
There's no data changes, just.
That's fine.
No, it's fine. Nothing bad.
Okay. So if none, I'll move straight into the service director's report. Item 1, there's a number of things I do want to get into just a little bit tonight. Item 1, the water plan update. We had our weekly meetings on the 7th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th. Meeting 29th was a very long meeting. We covered operational procedures for the plant. We covered the SCADA system, and most importantly, with the design of the plant, we have many bid packages. Some of them are for the electrical work, some of them are for the well work, and some of them are for ground earth moving. So there are many different packages. Those package bids came in, and we're starting a review on each one of those bids. And we're investigating to see, because as you know, we had a guaranteed maximum price from the contractor. But we are seeing some same day bidding reductions. We're getting some better prices on some things. Unfortunately, we are also having some expenses on some things where the price is up. So these packages are being reviewed right now, and actually have a meeting tomorrow to go through those packages. So more information coming there, but the 29th was a very good meeting, covering plant procedures, plant equipment, and different bid packages. Jumping into item 2, the wastewater plant update. I have received the 90% design plans on the sewer plant. So that's a good thing. We are going to meet with Jacobs and page by page. So this will be another all-day meeting covering each facet of the plant and equipment and controls. The next step for this will be, you can't get to 100% set of plans until you send these plans into the EPA. Then they will review the plans and send back their comments, any deviations they think there are, or changes or items they don't like dealing with loadings or flows going through the plant. So to get that done, we have to send those in for PTI review. So I'm going to get with the manager, discuss if we're ready to send those in. But I do want to let you know, we can't get 100% finished design plans until we send those in. Now, if you get PTI approval, then the clock starts on the plant. However, you don't have to start the plant for 5 years after the PTI approval. And I think that'll fall well within the time frame we're probably going to want to start construction. So understand, it's not complete construction, it's just starting construction within 5 years after the approval. Now, this PTI review from the EPA will probably take 6 to 8 months. So there's another almost year included before we'll get the PTI approval. So we actually, anywhere from the PTI approval, 6 to 8 months out, up to 5 years before we have to start the facility. So now, if we exceed that 5-year period, then we have to start the process of PTI over again. But I think where we're sitting, probably that plant will begin construction before that time frame. Moving on down, just keeping you up to date on leaks. We had one major leak at 62 and Duncan Plains. An auto flusher line froze and broke. We were able to get it shut down. We do not have it repaired yet. Ground's frozen, does not affect any of the residents out on that road, so we've just got that shut down till it warms up a little bit to work on. Item number 5 is a very serious situation. At our current water plant, we have wells J1, J2, and J3. It takes 2 of those wells to operate the plant, to supply our water supply in for treatment, and we have 1 as backup. Number 2, J2, is our largest operating well currently. It went down the other day. Quit pumping flow dropped off from 600 gallons a minute down to 200 gallons a minute. Called in a well company, Moody's Pump and Repair, and they pulled the pump. The pump was bad, but we investigate, why did that pump go bad? That pump's not that old. It appears we have holes in the casing and screens. So that's going to be a major repair. We're going to have to put liners in there, probably, to make those repairs. That well is planned on at an increased rate for the new plant design. The new plant design, each one of the 3 wells, well, J2, J3, and new J4, were each to pump 900 gallons a minute to the new plant. So we're doing a couple things. We're getting a price on what it's going to cost to line and rescreen that well versus moving 20 feet over and drilling a new well into that aquifer. Now, all of those wells are 33 years old, so it's not like they're brand new and they're going down. They have served a long purpose, but my plan is if we can get the screening repaired and get the casing lined, that'll probably be the least expensive way to go. But when you line something, as you know, you take the ID and it shrinks it, because I'm putting a liner in it. So our next problem is to see if we can get a 900 gallon a minute pump that will fit down inside the casing, because we're going to reduce the size of the casing. Now, I'm not going to get technical at all, but I am saying it's a serious situation, because if we would lose J1 or J3, then I don't have enough flow to operate the plant. So I've got Moody's working on a very fast, furious pace to get this done. J4, which is our new well, is drilled, but there's no pump and it's not connected to the system yet. So I've also asked Bowen to look at stepping up when that well will come online and be brought into the system, so we have an additional backup. So since that was a lot to unpack, are there any questions on that, or can I explain anything any better?
Is there a time frame on it being fixed? Like an idea?
I'm hoping, we've got a two-phase. Right now, we've cleaned the well, we have baled a bunch of sand and gravel out of that well, which again indicates we have holes in either the casing and or the screens. But we baled it down far enough that my hope is Friday or Monday, I'm pushing for this Friday to drop a pump and motor back down in there, so at least I have it as a backup. Then I will bring pricing back to council and to the finance committee, the two options, either new screen and lining the well, or moving over 20 feet and drilling the well into the existing aquifer. But if that pumps in there and it can deliver me at least 400 gallons a minute, I can make that work until we make the decision on the bigger.
We may have J4 online by then too.
Well, J4 is another
Part of the new
problem
plan.
because I gotta have electric, and so J4 probably couldn't get it online for 6 months. But I'd rather get it done in 6 months than 24 months. Because my concern is, all these wells are the same age. They were all drilled the same year. So if we're having screen and casing integrity in J2, we might have that in J1 and J3.
Except for J4, that's the new one.
J4 is brand
Yeah.
new.
And is there a way to check that?
Well, what I'm saying, what I plan to do, which I'm gonna bring up in my meeting tomorrow, before we just drop new pumps in J3, I'm gonna have that well cameraed to make sure, to check the screen and casing. Hopefully, we can roll all this into the loan. I have to get EPA approval to do that, but that is our plan. We may have to pay for it up front out of the enterprise fund, but then we can reimburse ourselves and then pay it over time. That is the goal. And the last item is no surprise to anybody, 6, low temperatures, heavy snow. We have had a tremendous amount of overtime. I know everything's not perfect, but I want to say I'm very proud of that crew. They worked many, many hours trying to keep the roads open. I haven't seen that much snow since '78, and a lot of you don't even remember '78. But I'm going to tell you what you remember.
Born in '79.
I am telling you, it just would not quit.
Yeah.
And the guys stayed right at it. I do know, maybe there are certain areas that could have been a little better, but I am proud of the effort and the work that the street crew and the water crew jumped into. They said the street crew could sleep during the day. I took water plant employees and put them in trucks with plows on them. Not as experienced, but got out there and got the job done and kept our roads open. So, thank you again.
Thank you for that.
Jack was in the truck as well.
Yeah.
Kudos.
I was just gonna say, it was like Jack was in the truck.
When, do they plan on going back out? Because I noticed a lot of the roads are a little bit narrow because of the snow. Do they plan on pushing the snow back further, or is that just gonna wait for melting?
Actually, if we wait till melting, it's gonna be spring.
Yes.
But it looks like we have another snow event, not nearly as bad, coming this Friday. I've instructed the crew to try to do a better job of getting over to the mailboxes and not hit the mailboxes, but get over to the mailboxes and get closer to the curbs. The chief and I are working very well together, because one of our biggest problems is we have an ordinance that says if we're gonna receive 2 inches of snow or more, you're not supposed to park on the street. That's something, because we haven't had snows like this in so long, that we really haven't pushed or enforced. It's very hard to get to the curbing when the guys are having to sweep out, to go around 2 or 3 vehicles, and then sweep back in. So, yes, they're gonna be directed to get closer to the curbs. To do it now, I started that a little bit. It causes problems because most of our residents have dug out to the road. So when I go through and push back to the curb now, Teresa's phone doesn't stop ringing because we plowed the end of the driveways closed.
Right.
And of course, our crew, you know, anybody that's pushed a plow truck knows you can straighten the blade out a little bit to eliminate some, but you're always gonna put a ridge of snow in there. So I'm gonna wait till the next major, not major, hopefully we don't have another major, but another snow event, when all the driveways aren't shoveled out to the road, and then I'm gonna push everything over.
That's
And
perfect.
then,
Thank you.
The chief is gonna do his very best, if it looks like we're gonna get that 2 inches or above, to let cars know, to try to get them out of the way so we can run straight down the curb line instead of sweeping in and out. And to the best of my knowledge, we've only had one mailbox injury, and it was fatal.
It was, and it's funny who it was.
Yeah, it's,
You can ask us afterward.
I saw that one.
It's not funny for her, but it's.
No.
And
It's,
we have met no cars up close, so that's another good thing. So they are being cautious, trying to stay wide, but to your point, Councilman Barnard, we are going to try to get that stuff closer to the curb.
I thought you did a great job. I just
Yeah,
noticed
no.
some neighbors have said something, are they gonna move it closer? And I
Getting to the
didn't know.
mailboxes and stuff like that, but to go back now, we're going to fill a bunch of end of driveways, and I'm not sure that's a popular.
I think that's a great idea, how you're doing.
Popular move.
So one question that I had,
Yes, sir.
well, it might be a couple part question. So over the next couple days, we're gonna get some sun, we're gonna get some higher temperatures. You know, we have salt down, all the roads have been treated with salt. They have seen a plow, they have seen salt, every road at this point. We use just a standard rock salt across the board, correct? Or do we have any?
No, there's refined salt and rock salt. What
Okay.
we were into the other day was, as you all know, salt's been tough to get.
Right.
I have 150 ton coming from Saudi Arabia.
Exotic.
We're able to find.
it's like
The
Himalayan.
finest exotic salt for
We're gonna
Johnstown.
get fancy spreaders.
So
Anyhow.
Teresa, it was supposed
Your
to
chicken and steak.
port into Maine
Today.
today, and then it's gonna be shipped down. Now this isn't cheap salt, but
Well, it's
but
fancy salt.
this is what we're getting, and I think it's a salt calcium mix, what I
Okay.
believe it is. But I'm taking any salt I can get my hands on. When you and I talked the other day, I was able to get 50 ton. Somebody denied a load or something, there's 50 ton of just straight rock salt. We don't normally
Okay.
use straight rock salt. But I was taking any salt I could find. So we were into the rock salt the other day. I think we're gonna have more of a calcium mix, which works better
Right.
than just the straight rock salt.
Right, so, and from my limited knowledge, so the rock salt is go down to about 15 degrees, and then if you have calcium, it goes a little further.
Goes a little further, yeah, 15 degrees, you're correct, I would have said 16 degrees, but it gets pretty peaky there. To actually work at that point, you gotta have cars driving over the road, the tires cause friction against the salt, and it heats it, and that's what causes the melting. That's why your side roads, even though they're salted, don't clear near as well as your main arteries, because of the more traffic generates heat on the road, which helps the salt to activate.
And with the temperatures that we had recently, with the type of salt that we had, it was not gonna cause that.
We're not having much activation on the side
Right.
roads.
Right,
But I did a town drive today thinking there would be talk. I agree with Councilman Barnard that we need to try to curb back further, but I do want you to understand that event was tough. The guys were just doing
Right.
well to keep
You-
the middle of the road open. So we are gonna curb back, but I see blacktop everywhere. But right out here, we get to our parking lot last. We try to do roads first. Well, I got drove over, and I got that hard pack ice on there. So I did ask the crew to try to come up and throw some salt on here. Hopefully sun tomorrow, a little warmer temperatures will get this slushed up, pulled off of our parking lot. But I do believe we can see blacktop on most of our roads. I saw Post Office Alley, I need to do some work on. There's some of those very small side roads we still need to work, but I think we've come a long way. I also want to thank publicly ODOT. After the last event, we had, again, Teresa's put in many phone calls, I put in phone calls trying to find salt. They said they did let us have 50 ton of salt if we could deliver it, and I want to thank them publicly for giving us that 50 ton of salt. It's just that scarce. Well, it's the first time I ever got salt from Saudi Arabia, so that's something to say that our salt storage is, it's not just us. Everybody is short.
Yeah, you're right, it is.
So, all right, thank you again.
Thank you.
thank you.
Does anyone have any other questions for Jack?
No, thanks for all your hard work, you and your team.
And I will let the team know, because they're tired. They worked hard.
Okay, next is tabled legislation, and there's none. Public hearings of legislation. We just have Resolution 2026-10. The resolution is initiating amendment to the zoning ordinance, Chapter 1187, which we heard the presentation on earlier this evening from MKSK. Does council desire to move forward with a motion to approve this?
So again, just to be clear, this isn't anything that passes any legislation tonight. This is just an approval to move forward with what we have.
Correct. So in your ordinance for text amendment, you can initiate the process one of three ways. One is through an applicant, citizen. They can initiate it. Planning and zoning can initiate the text amendment change, or council can initiate the text amendment change by resolution. So this is merely a resolution to initiate the change. This does not put the change into effect. There will be additional hearings and additional legislation that would then change the text as well as adopt the design review guidelines. So tonight you would want to, for a resolution, have discussion, open up for public hearing, close public hearing, and then if it was the desire of council, make a motion to move forward with that initiation, second, and then a roll call.
All right.
Does anyone have any comments? If not, we'll open to public comment. Any public comment? Matter? Hearing none. What is council's desire?
All right, I'll make a motion to approve as written.
I'll second.
No, he seconded.
Oh, I got it. Okay. Ryan Green,
Yes.
Mayor Hollis,
Yes.
Kyle Cook,
Yes.
Jeff Barr,
Yes.
Nicole Shook,
Yes.
Matthew Huggins,
Yes.
Bonnie Barnard.
Yes.
And we have no introduction of legislation, so we'll move on to other business. Ms. Shook, do you have anything?
Oh, yes, I just want to congratulate the Johnstown High School Choir. They're still ensemble participants. I did not get exactly how many were in that, but they all received superior ratings. I think it was January 17th, which was, I don't think ever done before, where they've all received a superior rating. So the choir program by Miss Warner over there is a spectacular program. Anybody who's ever been to the musical can attest to that. Musical is again in middle of March, so look out for sales for those tickets.
That's Charlie.
And Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I just want to say a big thank you to Miss Warner and the great job that she does with the Johnstown High School's choir and musical production.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
That's it.
Yep.
Mr. Barr?
Just want to thank all of city staff and through our storm last week and everyone's involvement in what you did to keep our city safe and operating. So thank you.
Thank you.
No? Mr. Huggins?
Nothing.
Thing?
Again, just to echo the thanks to the staff. They did a good job under the conditions and everything, and with all the snow, I want to thank everybody else who jumped in to support with the school and the townships, and I'm really glad to see everybody in this region working together.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. You have something, Jeff?
After you're done, maybe.
Okay.
I think you're going to cover it. Yeah.
And if one of you would want to let.
No, go ahead. All yours.
I'm just going to reiterate, like on the snow removal, obviously our street crews, Jack, everyone did a phenomenal job. I think everyone was in survival mode at that point, and we were just, doing the best you can at that point. And And I think that goes for every community in Ohio. There was a lot of efforts, volunteer efforts made from, whether it was, Main Street area that volunteers came in and brought equipment and moved things out just to support our crews in different ways. The effort from the schools with the sidewalk clearing. But I really want to read all the kids' names that made, I think it's great that the adults step in, but for kids, especially now, to step up, I just really feel like they deserve to have their name called. So I'm going to go through that list of names, and is everyone okay with that? Because it might take a second.
Good with it.
Okay. There were a lot, and it's amazing to know that we have that kind of kids in our community. So the softball team, we had Abigail Wood, Kendall Dew, Cameron Bollinger, Lucy Edwards, Madison Fraley, Emma McGeehan, I hope I said that right, Reese Lyons, Lucia Kuhn, Addie Hall, Violet Wenzel, Sophia Haley, Addison Larison, Avery Molinar, Jaden and Alexis King, Lana Carpenter, Lucy Schaefer, Jalen Bobble. Middle school players, so we even had middle school kids, Maria Smith, Vivian Anderson, Violet Hall, Peyton Carter, London Spadero, softball coaches Mike Triplett and Steve Stefanik, parents of softball players Dan Carter, Robert Moore, and Billy Bollinger, baseball players Jackson Ryan, Landon Larison, Evan Hanna, Zayden Molnar, Jackson Ballman. And our football team, we had Jackson Bender, Alex Culbertson, Ryan Ballard, Chase Potter and his family, Cyrus Bennett, Matt Baisden, Chase Flowers, Chase Fraley, Grayson Venzel, Zayden Molinar, Jackson Ballman, Hayden Norman, CJ Ortman, Henry Swartz, Dexter Swartz, Christian Dorston, Hunter Whelan, Caden Carpenter, Aiden Brazola, James Dew, Caleb Pennington, Coach Dan Carter, and Coach Mike Carter. And I do know that there are 2 kids on these lists that also volunteered and shoveled by hand a lot of the sidewalks in front of all the businesses on Main Street, and that's Cameron Bollinger and Caden Carpenter. And they did that when it was minus 10 degrees outside. So these kids really deserve a round of applause. They did an amazing thing for the community, and I'm proud of them. And that is all I have. Did you do anything
Nope.
else? No, you're good, okay. Okay, so next we're going to move on to executive session to prepare for, conduct, or review a collective bargaining strategy to include our city manager and our labor attorney, Dave Riepenhoff. Do we need, and all of council?
And police chief.
Police chief, yes.
For this one,
Oh,
since
that's
it's
right,
the,
I'm sorry.
Police officers.
Can we go through all of these individually, or do we need to come back from?
I believe that
I know we need to call them out individually, but I wasn't sure.
Jump in. So what you could do is go into it, then come back out, then go into it, come back out. And that's probably the recommended path. However, with that said, I think we're looking for some closure so that audience
keep
members can
everybody in
leave or staff can leave so that they don't have to stick around for some
Yeah.
of the nuances that we'll work through with your permission. So we could work through the first one. We could take a 5-minute break, but if there is no action afterwards, that will allow me to instruct much of the staff or the public to leave, or if there is action afterwards, we can have some of the staff stay and the public can stick around as well. So your decision.
I don't believe there's action to follow, Mr. Riepenhoff, can I? Okay, we're good? Okay. Yeah, so I think we can just go ahead and, so that everyone can go home.
Sure. So go into the first one, just maybe mention no action after item 18, so it will move into adjournment, and then we can take that 5-minute recess.
So we need a motion to go into executive session to prepare for, conduct, or review a collective bargaining strategy to include our city manager, labor attorney, and our police chief, and all of council.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Ryan and Jeff. Ryan Green,
Yes.
Mayor Hollis.
Yes.
Kyle Cook,
Yes.
Jeff Barr,
Yes.
Nicole Shook,
Yes.
Matthew Huggins,
Yes.
Donnie Barnard.
Yes.